I like the fire type. I haven't played in a little game in a while. That's the thought of this challenge. Let's get it started. I wonder who I'm gonna pick for this challenge. Who saw that coming? And now Hal wants to fight. My poor Litten. I survived the fall and crash, but he didn't. How will I ever continue on? Oh, hey. I'm replacing my dead cat with a candle. Aw, look at the cute little puppy I found. I mean, I've always liked dogs more than cats anyway. And I shall call my new puppy Ruble. Time for the first trial against Gumshoes, and I cheesed the hell out of this fight. I started swapping between Ruble and Crypto the Liquid so I can keep getting the Intimidate drop on it. I do this for a couple turns, Crypto goes down, then I send in Ruble, who fishes the young goose off with an Ember, and after getting a crit Ember on Gumshoes, I got one final Ember. I gotta say, it's very cathartic for me to get a crit on that Gumshoes, because that was like my 10th attempt, because I kept getting fucked up by crits and flinches from that motherfucker. But hey, first trial is down, and relatively easy. But you know what? There's a payoff, though, for beating that. I can find myself a Charmander. There we go. Jesus, you are a pain in the ass. I guess I can't complain too much. It's a relatively free starter, one of the cooler ones at that. And I'll name you Dollar. And Dollar's already evolving. You know, I replaced a Fire Cat with a Fire Dragon. I think I made an upgrade here. And Hal wants to fight again. Yeah, like always, these early Hal fights ain't worth showing. And now it's time to face Hollow, the first island who heals with Machop with Crypto. He stops to Ace Carball because it's the only Pokemon that can hit Crypto. I burn it on the swap, he full heals because for Confusion Ray. Next turn, he hits him with Confusion while I reburn it. And then his Carballer kept hitting itself in Confusion. I can take out with Night, losing no health. That was extremely lucky. And I immediately paid for it because next Pokemon was Makihita, a favorite of mine, who spends the next 15 turns going for Sand Attack. I'm not exaggerating there. I kept swapping because I kept missing because my actually went down. I eventually do take it out with Dollar's Dragon Rage, but god damn, he made me work for it. That's up this Machop, and like I said, Crypto can't hurt it, so I send it Crypto back out, and I take it out a couple Nightshades. You know I was guaranteed victory after Brawler went down because I had a Litwick, but Jesus Christ, that fight was annoying. Like, I did not know Hollow was programmed to do that, just spam Sand Attack. Oh well. Grand Trial's over. Well, at least the first one is. What a shock. Hal wants to fight again. Maybe one day you'll be worth showing, Hal. This random ranch has given me one of her eggs. There's a joke there I can make. I wonder what this is gonna hatch into. Oh, I can use that. I'm already running out of money to name these Pokemon. I'll call you Yen. And this nice ranch hand is gonna give me a Firestone, which I can use that to evolve my Eevee into a Flareon. And now it's to face the Edgelord Gladiant for the first time. First up the Zoroark because it's a Zubat. I go for Bite to break it, then we trade blows with Feint Attack and Quick Attack, and I eventually came out on top. Out comes the Zubat. 2 bites do it in, but I'm done at 2 HP. Out comes Type Null. Hit it with the Sand Attack, but down goes Yen. I then send in Crypto, hit with the Willis, and I swap the Rubles to get out a couple Embers. Well, the kids' gloves are off now. Next trial's the water one. And I have nothing for it. Oh boy. Okay, time to ban it off quickly. The Araquanid fight. Arguably gonna be the hardest fight this run. I do it again. I go for Sand Attack. Araquanid hits a bubble, but then I eat my Citrus Berry. Calls in Jupiter. I go for Sand Attack again. It misses bubble, but Jupiter hits a bubble. I go for one last Sand Attack. Araquanid buried the -3, but then Jupiter takes it down the bubble. And after this, Araquanid misses all of its attacks. I send in Ruble. I go for Bite on Jupiter, almost taking it out, but Jupiter kills Ruble with the bubble. I send in Crypto, finish Jupiter off with a Nightshade. Next few turns, I hammer down Araquanid with Nightshades. It keeps missing bubbles. Okay, how many times I said bubble this fight? Then it calls for Masquerade. Masquerade paralyzes Crypto, but that doesn't matter because Araquanid finally puts his glasses on, takes out Crypto in one bubble. Down to my last Pokemon, Dollar. Dollar fishes Araquanid off with Dragon Rages and then takes a Masquerade out with Dragon Rages as well. Yeah, I won't lie. What I just did there was cheap as fuck. Spamming Sand Attack isn't fun, but let's be real. It's either that or being extremely over-leveled. I picked the lesser evil. But you know what? On to bigger and better things. My next encounter, this wild Fletchling. Did I catch you in a dive ball? Oh my god, that is hilarious. So, I caught a future fire type and a water type Pokeball. That's pretty backwards. Now, what is a backwards form of currency I can name you after? Okay, let's be real. We all saw this joke coming from me. One level later, it's already evolving. This is gonna be fun. I hardly ever use this thing. Now it's time for the Total Marowak trial. Ew, a Euro. My first move is Thief, so I get that Thick Club off while he goes for Flame Wheel Turmoil. Marrow calls for help and Salazzle appears. So the next turn, pecking and quick attacking the Salazzle, do as much damage as I can before Euro goes down to their joint attacks. I send in Ruble, get the Intimidate drop off. to get rid of Salazzle. He gets close, but eventually falls to both Pokemon attacking him. I send in Crypto, taking a Poison Gas and Hex combo. Crypto barely holds on, finishes Salazzle with a Nightshade, but after that, dies to poison damage. Send in Yen to bite it to death, and then after 2, Curse Body activates and disables it, so I swap the dollar and finish it with 2 Rock Tombs. Because yes, Charmeleon can learn Rock Tomb for some reason. Okay, a bit more difficult than I was, but you know what? It was a fun fight. And the next trial was Grass, so you know, that's gonna be a cakewalk. You know, for one, skin this TM's actually amazing. Thank you, war criminal from a different country. And now it's time for the Total Morantis trial, and it goes easier than you think it would. Fire Fang, he goes about half, calls in its Comfey, goes for Synthesis, but then Comfey set up a Sunny Day, so an Inferno Overdrive one-shots the Morantis from full health. And then Fire Fang 2 shots to Comfey. Wow, you really played yourself there. You know, after the hell those last 2 totem fights were, I deserved an easy one. And don't worry, it's gonna end. The next major fight is, well, technically against Plumera, but then it's like a Rock Kahuna Olivia. So yeah, I'm at an easy street again. Well, here's the calm before the storm. The fight with Plumera, the Team Skull admin or whatever she is. First, it's her Golbat. I lead with Dollar. Speed of attack. Then I go for Counter. Yeah, Counter's like the egg move or special move that Charmander got when I Ion Scanned it. Oh, let's get to that. Then I finish it off the Fire Punch I got from the move tier. Lots of to land it. I swap out to Euro, finish into 2 Aerial Aces. Okay, enough delaying it. Time for Olivia. No more delaying it. It's time for the Kahuna fight with Olivia. First up's her Anoref. I lead with Yen. For some reason, she goes for a Bug Bite instead of Smack. She does little damage Yen as I finish in an Iron Tail. Yeah, I got that from one of the beach tiers, by the way. Next up's her Lilip. I go for Iron Tail doing a lot of damage because for Ancient Power gets the boost. But it doesn't matter. Lilip's slow as shit, so I still outspeed it and Iron Tail finishes it off. Last up's her Ace Reckonlock. Quick Claw pops in and Iron Tail does 3/4 of the health, but finishes Yen off with a Rock Tomb. I send in Nero to get rid of Zima, which she goes for, and it crits. You probably killed my Fletchinder 20 times over, no exaggeration. That poor bird. I send in Ruble to finish it off. I get the Intimidate off, but Bite flinches me, another Bite kills Ruble. I then send in Dollar to finish off with the counter taking one last Bite. I still don't know why she didn't go for Smackdown turn one instead of Bug Bite, because to no one's surprised, that wasn't my first attempt. Every other attempt to go for Smackdown nearly one-shotting. Like, I was making a Quick Claw pop so Iron Tail can one-shot it. But you know what? I won't complain too much. She still made me work for it, because god damn, that was a close fight. You know, normally I make jokes about this because, you know, Tentacle Monster, Japanese game, but this thing's a rock type. That is very threatening to my team. Oh wait, I forgot. Your defenses are shit and I have Iron Tail. And Hal wants to fight again. And it's actually worth talking about for once. First up is Dark Tricks. I leave with Ruble, I go for Flame Burst to about half, because for Plunge is a little over a quarter of my health. Another Flame Burst takes out a Dark Trick. Next up is Vaporeon. I gave Hal a Vaporeon in my Fire type run. Not my brightest move. Anyway, I go for a Bite to do damage, but Vaporeon takes Ruble out with the War Pulse. I then send in Dow to go for Dragon Rage, and it barely does anything. I think Dragon Rage about run its course in this video. War Pulse in one-shot style. I send in Yen, I go for Bite. I flinch it. I go for another Bite. I flinch it again, and one last Bite takes out the Water Demon. That was extremely lucky. Next up is Raichu. He gets for Psychic doing about 40% of my health. I go for Bite, leaving around 20% of his. But then I have Quick Attack, so I was able to outspeed him and finish it off with that. Next up is Tauros. I swap to Crypto on a Hortex, so he does nothing. And thanks to Eviolite I have on Crypto, I can take a Pursuit and burn it with the Will-O-Wisp. And surprisingly, Crypto comes out on top in this fight. I start spamming Flame Burst so he keeps going for Pursuit. I have 6 HP and Tauros goes down. Last up is Noibat, finishes Crypto off with a Bite. I then send in Yer taking out 2 Aerial Aces. Wow, Hal, I'm actually impressed. You went from me not worth joining to I haven't actually used strategy to win or I would have lost otherwise. Congratulations. And would you look at that? Thanks to Alex, my next encounter, Monferno, who is conveniently after the Olivia fight. Seriously though, they knew what they were doing putting this right after Olivia. I really could have used you for that. But you know what? I won't complain. It's a free starter. And I'll call you Zenny. Yes, I know it's a fictional currency, but come on, man. This thing's basically Goku when it evolves. Time for the Totem Togedemaru fight. I leave with Ruble, he gets for Spiky Shield, then calls in a Skarmory. Next turn, Ruble takes a Zing Zap. I hit with the Flame Burst, doing massive damage, but then Togedemaru eats its berry, Skarmory sets up a Tailwind. I expect a Spiky Shield this turn, so I go for Flame Burst to Skarmory, taking it out. Togedemaru predictably goes for a Spiky Shield. Then it calls into Dene. Next turn, taking a Zing Zap and a Super Fang. Ruble lives with 15 HP, and I finish the Togedemaru off with a Flame Burst. I then swap the Zane to kill the Dene with 2 Fire Punches. I am actually pretty surprised with Ruble there. Taking out the Togedemaru like that in 2 shots is actually impressive. I was not expecting that. After that performance, you deserve to evolve Ruble. You also learned Flamethrower, so it's the perfect time to evolve you as well. I'm going for a special Arcanine this time around. We'll see how that turns out. And now it's time to face your boy Guzma. First up is Glissapod. I lead with Yer, and even though I'm holding Eviolite, Razor Shell still one-shots Fletchinder. But hey, at least the Flame Body goes off. I then send in Crypto, and also, despite the burn, Razor Shell leaves me at 4 HP, but I go for Hex, cause an emergency exit Oxus Masquerain, who finishes Crypto with an Air Slash. I then send in my newly evolved Ruble to handle it, who immediately gets flinched by an Air Slash. No one brings it to red, but then the Flamethrower takes it out, and his Glissapod Extreme Speed finishes it off. Wow, I really need to upgrade my team here. We are falling behind. And it looks like we're getting one of those upgrades right now. Euro's evolving. God, what a cool bird. I cannot remember the last time I actually used this thing. And would you look at that, my next team member. Oh, wait, you don't have drought. Oh, I didn't find another Torkoal, but I found my other new team member, Turtonator. I caught it in a heavy ball. That's cool. I will call you Denary. I am probably mispronouncing that. I know what you're wondering. Who are we going to replace? Even though it's saving her in a total rock when it fights sand attacks, I'm replacing Yan. It's time for him to rest. That, and I really want to use a Turtonator. Alright, come on. Take 2, Torkoal. God damn it.
Just that.
Oh, cool. I called in a Torkoal that has drought. And just like that, the team is done. Well, besides a few evolutions. I will call you Rupee. And if you're wondering who we're replacing, this may sound insane, it's just so close to Charizard, but I am getting rid of Dollar. I don't want 2 starters, and honestly, I already have a Talonflame and a Fire Flying. After those upgrades, it's time for the TheMudkipCO fight. I leave a proof to get the Intimidate off, and then I swapped to Crypto as a sack off. With Intimidate plus Eviolite, Crypto actually tanked a Shadow Claw, which is surprising. Goes on to the next turn after Mimikyu calls in its ally Banette to another Shadow Claw, but hey, credit where it's due. I send Rule back out for another Intimidate drop, then I go for Bite on Banette after taking a Shadow Claw, but then Banette goes for Screech. I don't want to deal with that, so I send Yura out to another Shadow Claw, Banette goes for Screech again. Next turn, thanks to a crit, Yura goes down to a Shadow Claw. Send Rule back out for a third Intimidate drop, and then finish Banette with a Bite. Then after taking a Shadow Claw, I hit it with an Iron to doing about a quarter of Mimikyu's health. Then Mimikyu calls his other ally, Jellicent, who is a Water type. Fun. So next turn, I take a Shadow Claw, I go for a Bite on Jellicent, do half of its health, but then dies to a Water Pulse. I send Zenny in, he takes a Play Rough, and I kill Jellicent with a Thunder Punch. Now that both Mimikyu's allies are down, I start hammering away at Mimikyu with Fire Punches. Then he was about to lose a fight, but then Mimikyu misses its last Play Rough, and then he kills it with a Blaze Boosted Fire Punch. Now to explain it, that trial went exactly what I thought it was going to be, but also not how I thought it was going to be. I don't know, it's weird to explain it. You know what, Zenny? After your performance there, you deserve to evolve. It's kind of weird seeing Infernape not in a Gen 4 game, but you know what? I'll roll with it, most because it's Infernape. After crushing out last trial solo, Puro's giving me a blowjob, means she wants to fight me. First up's her Golbat, that goes in at 2 sun-boosted lava plumes from Rupee. Then out comes her Salazzle. That goddamn Salazzle. She's for a Sludge Bomb to kill Rupee. I send in Rupee, taking a powerful Sludge Bomb, reward it. After barely taking a Sludge Bomb, combination of Bulldoze and Extreme Speed take out that troublesome Pokemon. Seriously, it doesn't matter what challenge I do, that Salazzle in this fight is always a pain in the ass to deal with. Speaking of pain in the ass to deal with, Crypto doesn't evolve to level 41. Seriously though, I love you, don't get me wrong, Black and White 2 is probably my favorite game in the series, but what is up with all their evolution levels being so goddamn late? Let's let it face your boy Guzma again. Unlike last time, he wasn't that much of a challenge. First up's Gliscopod, Live Hero, Acrobatics immediately activates emergency exit. Out comes Pinsir. But thankfully, it doesn't have Stone Edge yet, so 2 Acrobatics take it out. Out comes Gliscopod again, Acrobatics finishes off. Last up's Masquerain. Knows gonna go for Icy Wind for speed control. I send out Rupee and finish it with 1 Drought Boost to Lava Plume, taking an Air Slash. Now Gladiator wants to fight, so I'm not bending his replacement. Daddy's whooping, I just give to Guzma. I don't know, I'm not paying attention to the story. These are Golbat, I leave with Rubal, take it out in 2 Flamethrowers. Out comes Titan, no, goes for Hyper Voice, almost takes out Rubal, but then after hitting a Flamethrower, it reveals it's actually Zoroark. Then next turn, take it out with an Extreme Speed. Last up's the Astro type, and I'll say, you know what, I want up to Denary, because 1, he's tanky, and 2, I don't think we've used him in the video yet. It's a Crush Call, lowers my defense. He goes for Crush Call again, lowers my defense again as I go for Dragon Pulse. Now once I see Denary go down, I swap to Zenny. He goes for Crush Call again, and gets a 3rd defense drop in a row. Yeah, Crush Call has a 50% chance to drop defense within, no, and I never fucking get it when I use it. Anyway, next turn I hit a close combat, take out the failed experiment known as Type Null. Now we're going on with Gladian's over. It's time for more important things. We're next going to Nanu, for example. First up is Sableye. I leave with Rupee for the draft setup. I start with Protect. No one's going to go for a Fake. And the next turn he goes for a Power Gem, a little over half as I hit a Lava Plume that does half and burns it. Instead of going for the kill on Rupee with another Power Gem, he uses a full heal, so my next Lava Plume kills him while he heals the burn. Next up is Rock. He takes out Rupee with a Rock Slide. I send in Rubal for the Intimidate drop, and after taking an Earthquake, I one-shot with Flamethrower. And last up is Ace, Alolan Persian. He finishes Rubal off with a Power Gem, because for some reason, all of his Pokemon have a way of doing super effective damage to Fire types. I send in Zenny, after taking a Power Gem, I barely missed a knockout with Close Combat. But no one was going to heal, I go for Power Up Punch, and then next turn, I'm taking one last Power Gem, I finish it with a Close Combat. Another grand trial down. It feels good. Got this weird feeling in me that something important I forgot about. Oh. Yeah, I should probably stop this. And the first of that is defeating Luzumine's bodyguard and probably boy toy your boy Guzma. First of his Gliscopod, leave it here, I'll go for Acrobatics and force an emergency exit. Out comes his Pinsir, who has Stone Edge now. But Acrobatics one-shots, so it doesn't matter. Out comes Vikavolt. I swapped to Denary on a Thunderbolt. After taking 2 more Thunderbolts, a couple Flamethrowers take it out. Out comes his Masquerain. I suck up Denary to an Air Slash. So now Rupee. Drought comes out, and after doing half Rupee's health with an Air Slash, Rupee kills it with a Lava Plume. Last up is Gliscopod at half health. And thanks to set up to that by Drought, Rupee can take a Razor Shell and kill Gliscopod with a Lava Plume. Now it's time for Luzumine. She really gives me a run for my money in this fight. First up for Clefable, I'll leave with Rupee. She goes for Moonblast, I go for Sludge Bomb. Next turn she goes for Hyper Voice, I go for another Sludge Bomb. Then she finishes Rupee off with a Psychic. I send in Zenny to take it out with a sun-boosted Fire Punch. Out comes her my loading. I go for a Thunder Punch and Paralyze it, and she's paralyzed that turn. I go for another punch, and I barely miss a KO, but she goes for an Icy Wind. For some reason. I don't know why. Then I can get the kill on my loading with a Power-Up Punch. Out comes Beware. I go for a close combat. I do about 60% of its health before falling to a Zen Headbutt. I send a year to fill with Acrobatics, and it lived. Holy shit, Beware is taking. I need to use it sometime. Hit Zenny with a Zen Headbutt, and I finish it with a Flame Just. Up next is Lopunny. I hit it with the Acrobatics, barely missing the knockout, and Euro goes down to a Thunder Punch. I then send a removal official play off the Extreme Speed. Last episode, Lilligant, and it's a grass type out of all Fire Team. So yeah, you know what happens. She's a Sun Sport, but then I break through and incinerate it with a Flamethrower. And there she goes. And so does Guzma. I'll deal with that later. Pony Island. I've been waiting the entire video to get here. Something important's here. What? Finishing the story? No, not that. Who cares about that? The Solar Beam TM's here. Also the Death Stone, so I can finally evolve Crypto into a Chandelure. You know, I really do love this thing, but it's such a pain in the ass to get in most games. Litwick doesn't evolve to level 41. Duststone's relatively late in most games. But you know what? I won't complain anymore. I have you now. Now it's time for the TheMudkipCO fight. I leave with Rupee, not taking a Dragon Claw, hit with the Toxic. Komodo calls on a Noivern. Next turn I go for Protect. Yep, I'm going for Protect Toxic strategy here, y'all. Hit the Noivern with Toxic next turn after barely taking a Dragon Claw on a Hyper Voice. Then after another round Protect for Toxic damage, Rupee goes down. I then send a Ruble. I finish Komodo off with Extreme Speed. Then same with the Noivern. Hit with the Extreme Speed, then Toxic damage kills it. Yeah, I won't deny, that was extremely cheap of me, but you know what's funny? Komodo wasn't the threat, it was that fucking Noivern. Anyway, let's go defeat Necrozma and Ultra Necrozma. First up is Duskmane Necrozma. I killed it in 2 lava plumes. Alright, let's get on to the real Necrozma fight. I'm gonna be real, y'all probably not gonna like what I do here. I think I did this last video too. I Toxic Stall this thing again. Hit it with a Toxic, add Focus Sash on Rupee, then I go for Protect Stall on all my Pokemon. And I won. Look, I can't help but see this 10 levels higher on all my Pokemon, and has Power Gem, and gets a stat boost. I did what I had to do to win. But on the bright side though, that'll be the last time I'm doing that strategy, so don't worry. I'm actually gonna be fighting fair for the rest of this video. Alright, let's finish this game now, shall we? The final island trial, and it gets this cute little bug, Rabombi. I leave it Rupee for the drought, and I go for a Lava Plume to get rid of its Aqua Bears. Rabombi goes for a Quiver Dance. Then it closes its ally Pelipper, that has Drizzle, and gets rid of my sun and sets up the rain. Clever girl. So after Euro has a sack off, so it gets eviscerated by a skull, and Rabombi goes for another Quiver Dance. I then send Rupee back out and I get rid of the rain and get the sun back out. Then I've taken a +2 Bug Balls and a skull, and I hit with a sun boosted Lava Plume, doing good damage, honestly, considering that it has +2 special defense. Next turn, Rupee goes down to a Bug Buzz. I send in Zenny. Rabombi goes for Dazzling Gleam, and Zenny lives at 1 health because of the sun-boosted Fire Punch. Goes down to a Pelipper Skull, but hey, that's impressive. I then send a Daenerys and kill a Pelipper with 2 Dragon Pulses. And just like that, that was the final trial done. Now all left is the Grand Trial, a fight with Gladian, and then the Elite Four and Champion fight. Let's get to it. Here we are, the final Grand Trial against Hapu. First up, Skolork. I leave with Rupee to get the sun out. She goes for Earthquake, doing a lot of damage, but I go for Solar Beam, doing about 60%. I then swap to Euro on our Earthquake. I go for Bulk Up. For some reason, Talonflake can learn Bulk Up. I don't know why it is. She goes for Stealth Rock, but then Shadow Punch. And I realized, wait, this thing can't really hurt Euro that much. I start spamming Bulk Up, so when Bruce can get my health back, I get the +6, and I use Acrobatics and one-shot all of her team. So, yeah, kind of anticlimactic for the final Grand Trial. I'm gonna be honest, I did not see that fight going that way. Like, I thought I was gonna do like a Drought Solar Beam thing, but nope, I just bulked up on Euro and Acrobatics, one-shot her entire team. Like, that's probably the first time I've seen a Talonflame sweep Hapu. But hey, easy last Grand Trial. And now it's time for the final Gladian fight. He loses with Crobat, I leave with Daenerys. I go for a Shell Trap, and he actions it by going for Acrobatics. Crobat survives with red health, but after taking another Acrobatics, I take it out with the Flamethrower. Then out comes the Zoroark besides Lucario. And for some reason, he goes for a Z move on an almost dead Pokemon. I mean, cool, waste it, why don't you? Daenerys dies to it, obviously. I send Rupee to get rid of the hail and set up the sun. I go for a Lava Plume doing good damage before falling to 2 Night Dazes. I then send Zenny out to take Zoroark with a Power-Up Punch. Out comes the Savali holding the Water Memory. I go for a Thunder Punch to it low and paralyzed. Goes for a multi-attack, and Zenny barely takes it thanks to the sun I set up. And then Savali goes down to a Power Punch, and last up Lucario, and it gets murdered by a +2 close combat. And just like that, only left between me and the end of this challenge is 5 battles. Let's get to it. The first member is Mullane, the Steel-type trainer. Yeah, we're starting easy here. First up is Klefki. I leave with Crypto. He misses a Thunder Wave, and Klefki gets one-shot by a Flamethrower. Out comes his ace, low into trio. I swap to Euro, he's going for Earthquake. Next turn, he goes for Sucker Punch as I kill the Vayne Hail and Wannabe with the Flare Blitz. Out comes his Magnezone. I go for Flare Blitz, but it has Sturdy and takes Euro out with the Thunderbolt. I then send to Zenny. No, he was gonna heal. I go for Power-Up Punch. Next turn, I go for Power-Up Punch again, leave it in Healing Rage again as he goes for Screech. Heals again, but that's better for me, so I can get 2 more Power-Up Punches off. So now Zenny's at +4. Then Zenny melts his Metagross with a Flare Blitz and beats his Bisharp to death with a close combat. Now on to the next member. The next member is Olivia, the Rock-type member. We probably went from the easiest one to most likely the hardest one. She says on Mardo, Leo with Rupee. She goes for Rock Blast, hits twice. I go for Lava Plume. Then she goes for Rock Blast again, gets 3 hits. Rupee barely survives and finishes our model with the Lava Plume. Then out comes her Gilly with a Sandstorm that sets with the Sandstorm. I swapped the as a sack up, but she misses Stone Edge. I then send Ruby back out to get rid of the Sandstorm and set up Drought as she goes for Stone Edge and kills Ruby. I then send Ruby. I go for Solar Beam, barely miss the KO. She goes for Bulldoze. The next couple turns she heals stalls, and I keep going for Solar Beam. She runs out of full restores eventually, and I take out Glow with the Flamethrower. Then out comes her Ace Lycanroc. I swap to Euro to sack it off, and she goes for the Z move that auto destroys Euro. You know, I think that happened in the last Grand Trial fight with her too, which is kind of funny. I send Ruby back out, go for Solar Beam, she goes for a Stone Edge, and one final Solar Beam kills a Lycanroc. Out comes her Propass. I go for a Flamethrower for damage as she takes Ruble out with the Power Gem. I send Zenny, go for Power Up Punch, barely misses the kill as she goes for Thunder Wave. But funny thing is, Propass is so slow, I still outspeed it. Another Power Up Punch takes out. Lots of Cradily, and like Propass, I still outspeed it even paralyzed, and one close combat does it in. Now on to the next member. Okay, I lied. This is the easiest Sleep 4 member. Ace Roll, the Ghost one. Crypto one-shots all over Pokemon with Shadow Ball. I mean, her process does get a hit on me with Shadow Ball and almost kills it, but the thing is, Crypto outspeeds all the rest of her Pokemon, so it doesn't matter. Now on to the final member. The final 4 members, Kalili, the Flying type trainer. She leads with Braviary, I lead with Rupee to set up a Sun. She goes for 2 Brave Birds. I can barely take him, take down 2 Lava Plumes. Then out comes her Mandibuzz. Takes out Rupee, but then I send in Euro. This thing can't do shit for damage, so I set up a bunch of Bulk Ups. Stay healthy with Roost. Today I just Brave Bird and Flubits through her entire team while roosting up damage. So yeah, pretty easy last member. Now on to the champion. Here we are, the final fight of the run, the battle for champion against Hal. And it was a weird fight. First up is alone, Raichu. I lead with Rupee. He goes for Thunderbolt. I go for Lava Plume. Next turn, he kills Rupee with another Thunderbolt. I then send Rupee back out. Go for Extreme Speed to take out the Raichu. Then out comes Vaporeon. I'll go for turn 1 Solar Beam, doing good damage. He goes for Charm. Then he switches to his Decidueye because I go for Solar Beam. But then next turn, I take out the Flamethrower. He then proceeds to send Vaporeon back out to die to another Solar Beam. I am so fucking confused about that play. Dude just killed his Vaporeon and Decidueye for no reason. Up next is his Tauros. He gets a crit Earthquake and Rupee barely hangs on. Hits a Flamethrower. Tauros on red, and then I Extreme Speed took out the Tauros. Then he sends out his Crabominable, which proceeds to get one shot by a Flamethrower. And last up is his Noivern. I go for Extreme Speed to get some damage on as Rupee goes down to a Dragon Pulse. And then send Denarian. It barely takes a Dragon Pulse from Noivern, then proceeds to take out Noivern with its own Dragon Pulse. And now we are the champions. And just like that, you can beat Pokemon Ultra Sun only using Fire types. That was a really fun run. All the Pokemon were really fun to use. Even Turtonator, who I was a little disappointed by, but you know, it has its uses. And I hope you all enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe, future, all the bullshit, and I'll see y'all later. Peace, bitches!
You